Volume 1 Chapter 7 Section 1. The room Jai created was huge. He led the other three downstairs and left the three girls outside. In front of them was an area as big as a soccer field. They were amazed by it. Jai said with pride,
"I didn't know that you can change the room, but after figuring it out, you just have to focus and imagine on where you want to change while holding the room's handle outside. God will also amend any imperfections you have. Just like this training ground."
This training ground was separated into a few areas. There was a target practice field, a long-distance running field, an obstacle running field, and a close combat platform.
Starting today, every day from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., 1 p.m. to 6 p.m., and 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. We will train non-stop. We won't see any results on our body with just these few days, so we will start with shooting and close combat. You will also have to run and test your limits. Once you know your limits, you can plan ahead in the movies. Anyway, there is a lot of training we have to do.
Jai gave everyone a description of the purposes of each training area. Long-distance running and obstacle running was obvious. Close combat was necessary. Shooting was an important factor in sci-fi movies. Everyone agreed to his plans. Zheng asked,
"What about guns? Do we go exchange them for training? Or are we using your Desert Eagle?"
Didn't I say you can create anything in your room? It's just that you can take many of these things out of the room. Go take a look at that storehouse. I exchanged the magazine on guns, then created them according to the descriptions. You can also test the power of sci-fi weapons. Even though they are expensive, you should probably exchange for one when you have the points.
Zhao Yi exclaimed, then ran toward the target practice field. Lan sighed.
"You probably can't create magical weapons in this room, right?"
Jai nodded.
No. I kept trying but couldn't create them. God probably put a restriction on this.
Lan touched her forehead.
The most difficult movies are probably the supernatural ones. God wouldn't let us get familiar with this type of weapon to increase their difficulty. Anyway, if I have the points, I will probably only get one sci-fi weapon and spend the rest on magical weapons. That's what I am planning.
Zheng and Jai nodded. Especially Zheng, that 1,500 points didn't go to waste. Jai spent the rest of the afternoon teaching them how to use guns. Of course, other than testing out sci-fi guns for fun, they put their focus on normal guns, especially on their shooting accuracy. Lan and Zhao Yi spent the whole time doing target practice. Jai led Zheng to the combat platform. Jai only spent 100 points on his gun and the rest enhancing himself. He probably was also in the army back in the real world. He was much more experienced than Zheng in close combat. It only took a while for him to knock down Zheng. Jai shook his head.
Not enough. Your speed and strength are there, but you can't keep calm. You have much more strength than before, so you can't control the punches you throw. Learn how to control your speed and power the first few days. Then you will have to learn to use your abilities. We will depend on you for the next movie.
Zheng nodded. He definitely felt he couldn't control his strength, and he was rather curious about his chi. Was it as amazing as the novels described it? The punches he received from Jai could knock a normal person out. But it was only painful at first, then he felt a warm sensation moving through his body and the pain dissipated. The four of them had dinner at Jai's room. Then Zheng brought Lori back. On the way back, he was still thinking of the training. He figured out the function of chi. Other than lessening pain, when he spread it through his body, his speed and strength would double. That was the only time he beat Jai in combat. Jai couldn't even do anything against that kind of power. But then he could barely move for 10 minutes. Seemed like this could only be used in danger. Zheng still hadn't figured out how to use the blood energy yet. Since it was on the same rank as Qi, It shouldn't be too weak.
Ahem.
It woke Zheng up from his thoughts. Lori was standing in front of him with a red face. She seemed mad at him.
You're walking with me and your mind is elsewhere. Are you regretting you didn't create another beautiful woman when you saw those two women? I am just a teen. Mature women are more attractive. Is that what you're thinking?
He held on to her hands and smiled.
I am thinking about this afternoon's training. I will tell you everything if you want to know. Be confident with yourself. You know there were almost 100 guys trying to date you in school. And you know I've always liked you. How could I think about someone else?
She looked at him for a while, then smiled.
Then you will tell me in a bit how you spent these years. You just said you will tell me everything, right?
Zheng was startled, then he forced out a smile.